Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. So today we are going to discuss about chapter number 18. But before we discuss chapter number 18, I would do a quick recap of chapter number 17. We would solve some questions on chapter number 17 and then we will proceed to the chapter number 18. So I hope you guys have gone through chapter number 17 that we closed in the last session, which was due diligence, investigation, and forensic accounting. We discussed in detail what is due diligence, what is investigations, forensic accounting, fraud investigations, all those stuff. Okay. Now we will be solving some questions on that so that it can act as an revision for us. Also, it will be very helpful for you guys to understand like how to answer the questions of this particular chapter. Okay. So let's solve some questions on this. How we will proceed here is that I will show you some questions. We will read some questions and then I'll give you a minute to read. Once you read, then I expect answer from you. Okay. So first I will be expecting answer from you guys. You have to try and then I will discuss the answer. Clear? Meanwhile, if you guys have any doubt at any point in time, you can ask freely, you can unmute yourself, you can ask your doubts, you can write in the chat box. It's you can ask freely. Don't keep doubt with yourself. Don't hesitate. Every doubt is important. No matter how many times you ask as many doubts as you can. Okay. So let's begin our session with the questions. So this is the first question that we are taking for today. Global Tech Industries, a multinational technology conglomerate, is considering acquiring Innovate Solutions, a promising Indian startup specializing in artificial intelligence applications. Global Tech has engaged a team of chartered accountants from a reputable Indian firm to conduct a comprehensive financial due diligence on Innovate Solutions. The CA team has tasked with the assessing financial health, risk, and opportunities associated with the potential acquisition. Please provide the areas that the CA team should address in their investigation of the Innovate Solutions. So you need to tell me the areas that the CA team should address of Innovate's solution. Okay. Now do one thing. Remember one thing. We are talking about this particular part. Financial due diligence. Don't go on the word investigation over here, but focus on the financial due diligence. So you need to tell me the areas that are linked to financial due diligence. Okay. That the team should address in their due diligence part. Okay. Take a minute, read the question again, and then try to answer. I hope you have read the question now. So tell me, what are the areas that you should address when you are doing a financial due diligence of a particular company for the purpose of here for the purpose of acquisition? Come on, guys. So the question here is potential acquisition. Very good, Manish. Yes. Yes, very good. Yes, Manish. Absolutely correct. Anything else? Anything else that you may think that you should review and visit those areas with respect to due diligence? Yes, very good, Manish. Okay, good. So I'll tell you the areas. Okay, that are required to be reviewed for the financial due diligence. So let's say, for example, the first area that we need to review for the financial due diligence, okay, that is your historical financial performance. Historical financial performance. Now, if I ask you, if you have to review historical financial performance, if you need to perform due diligence historical financial performance, what things you will look into that? This is just a heading. Now, there should be something more that you will look into historical financial performance. What you will look into? Come on, guys. Yes, Manish, very good. Yes, good, good. Very good, Ginny. Yes, Ginny, very good. Um, Physical part, Manish, I think that will be covered later on. Usually, when it comes to the physical verifications, it is something that it is done to verify the existence of the asset. I'm talking about historical financial performance. Historical. Think of the historical things, which the things which are there already, like not the current financial position, but historical financial performance. For example, when you go for the historical financial performance, what you will do? Very good. Yes, Manish. So you will check first of all the financial statements of, let's say, for example, 3 to 5 years. Okay. You will check for cash flow, 3 to 5 years, ratios for last 3 to 5 years. Yes or no? Then you may go for major customers, suppliers. Yes, very good, Manish. Human resource part, or you may check for the employee related part, taxes, expenses. Yes, very good, Jenny. So all these things I would look into when I will check for the historical financial performance. So how and what was the financial performance with respect to the past years? Okay, it may be beyond, like some expenditure, some specific R&D, all those stuff will be there. So that was historical financial performance. Then I will go for current financial position. Current financial position. In this particular part, what you will check? Let's say, for example, I'm asking you historical is done. Now you need to check for the current financial position. What you will check for the current financial position? Come on, guys. What you will check for the current financial position? Okay, Manish. Yes. Yes, very good. Major assets. Yes, Manish. Contingent liabilities. Very good. Yes. Company has consistent accounting policies. Very good, Jenny. Yes. Pending litigations. Yes, Manish. Very good. What else you will check? Always when you have to answer for these kind of questions, no, I would suggest focus from the area like bigger ones first, and then drill it down to the next level, next level, next level. So first focus on the biggest bigger pictures, and then you drill down to the smaller areas or specific areas. Disputed labor, yes, Manish. What is the best indicator of your current financial position, guys? What is your best indicator? Yes, Jenny, very good. And from that, what you can identify? Yes, Manish, very good. So, if I have to go for the current financial position, I will check for the liquidity first of all. What is the liquidity position of the company as of today? Okay, how much cash they have on their hand, receivables aging, what is the receivable aging, inventory turnover. You may check for the credit facilities that company has. Then you may go for net worth, that is current asset minus current liabilities. What is the net worth of the company? Sorry, not net worth, but this is working capital. Apologies. So what is the working capital for the company? Then you will go for net worth. What is the net worth basically? Then you will check for the, okay, now what is the debt equity ratio? How much debt they have on their balance sheet? Then I will go for the liability side, and then I may go for, okay, current liabilities that I need to pay within next 3 months, 5 months, or whatever period I may choose to see. Okay, and then unrecorded liabilities, or liabilities which are missing from the books, I may search those kind of liabilities. Unrecorded liabilities. Then I may check for the provisions whether they are appropriately recorded or not, or I may go for the you can say contingent liabilities, because if not recorded as a provision, at least it should be recorded as a contingent liability. So these are the areas that I may check for the current financial position. Again, are these the only areas? Answer is no. There could be more than that. Okay. Now, apart from the historical financial performance and current financial position, what else you will check in the financial due diligence? What else you would check in the financial due diligence? So we have checked for the historical financial performance. We have checked for the current financial position. What is the next thing? Cash flow we have already considered. Very good, Manish. Financial projections, future financial projections. Future financial projections. That is something we will check for the company. Like, what are the projections for the company? How they are made, sensitivity analysis, growth rates, margins, what they are expecting, industry benchmark, a lot of things we will check. Then what? Very good, Manish. Statutory compliance, yes, Jenny, very good. Statutory compliance. You can say statutory compliance, or I can also say tax compliance. Okay, statutory or tax compliance. So these are certain areas that I may go and check when it comes to the financial due diligence. Yes or no? So areas that the team should address in performing the financial due diligence, you can say. Clear with this? Any doubt? Okay. If no doubts, let's proceed to the next question. Yes, Shani.
सर, अभी जैसे कि हमने यहाँ पे ये हिस्टोरिकल फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस और करंट पोजीशन के अंदर जो भी हमने पॉइंट्स लिखे, तो ये हम एग्जाम में यानी पर्टिकुलरली हमको लिखने हैं, या फिर हम यानी जैसे अभी हमने आपको बताया उस
हाँ.
तरीके से आप लिखते जा रहे थे, तो वैसे हम लिख सकते हैं?
No, you can. So whatever answers you gave were correct, and it's in exam. It's not about writing one word or two words. See, here we have written in the summarized form, but in exam, what you need to do is you need to write in detail. For example, you will verify the net worth. You will verify this, that, and so if you can write that thing that you just gave the answer, it is perfectly fine.
ओके सर.
So that will be fine, not an issue.
ओके सर.
Hmm. Okay, let's proceed to the next question. Okay, so the next question is Greenleaf Energy Solutions, a well established Indian company specializing in renewable energy products. It's exploring acquisition of solar tech, a newer entrant in the solar energy market. Greenleaf has tasked a team of chartered accountants with the conducting through a thorough financial due diligence on solar tech to assess the feasibility and potential risk of the acquisition. Develop a comprehensive plan that should help the CA team to address the areas pertaining to brief history of the target company and the background of its promoters. So here you need to talk about the brief history of the target company and background of the promoters. How will you perform due diligence of this particular area? What things you will look into? Take a minute, read the question again, and then try to answer. Yes, guys. So, how would you perform due diligence of this particular area? Proper team, okay. But you need to tell about the areas that you will look for this. Like, how will you do the due diligence of this area? So, you need to talk about the areas over here. Come on, guys. Yes, very good, Ginny. Whether the company is profitable or not, target company's liabilities and asset. Okay, Manish. Analysis. See, here we are talking about brief history of the target company. So something you have already seen in the previous question, but a lot of things are, different over here. Future lease liability, okay. But future, it is something we need to talk about history of the target company, Manish, not the future. Come on, guys. what you would do. Company in the new in the market, then we should check whether the company properly registered or not. Okay, registration of the company. Okay, good. What else? Like brief history of the target company and background of its promoters. Conditions of its plants. No, not Manish. Again, that is also future driven, not the past, not the history. We're talking about history over here. Anyone? Anyone on the history part? No? Liquidity ratio? Okay, no issues. Let me tell you. See, when I am talking about company's brief history of the target company and the background of its promoters, so when I talk about history, okay, it talks about from inception or incorporation. Okay, so from incorporation, I need to check how the company was working. For example, initial directors or shareholders of the company. Who were they? Who is the promoter of the company or founder? Then I would check for the changes in shareholding throughout the years, because I am going to the history, okay, of the target company. So I need to check and trace, like, okay, these were the shareholders at the time of incorporation, then these were the shareholders added, deducted, or all that stuff, like change in the shareholding. So from where to where the shareholding actually gone. Then, after understanding the change in the shareholders, I may check for the significant transactions in past. Now, significant transactions can be, for example, mergers and acquisitions, divestment, incorporating new subsidiaries outside India. So expansions, something like that. The company has done. So company started with one factory, now they have three factories, three plants, and whatsoever. So significant transactions and the path the company had in the past. Okay. Number four. Again, I'm talking about the brief history of the company, background. Okay. Then here I need to check for the significant, you can say licenses, you can say permissions, or that the company has obtained years ago or few years ago to start the business. So licenses or permissions that the company has obtained. So past one, not the current one, but the past which was obtained. Sometimes you obtain land on the 99 years of lease, but that is past land, that the transaction done in the past, not in the future. Now, coming to the next part is that this is just the initial brief history about the target company. But I need to go beyond. This is just about the company, but I need to see for the business operation also. For example, primary business operations. What are the primary business operations or activities of the company? And then changes. Third, then I would go for the products of the company. Okay, product development, product history, and product life cycle. For example, if company is into the manufacturing of certain products, how the products were manufactured earlier, what was the response in the market, whether the company's products are preferred or not, any complaints, a lot of things are there in that. Market share, target customers, competitive positions, a lot of things I check when it comes to the product history. Okay, locations. Then I may check for the office, or for example company locations. For example, where the company's head office was, in which state, whether they changed their head office from particular one state to another. Okay, that is something I may check for. Then supply chain related part. I'm just talking about this brief history of the company, supply chain. Now, what I can check in the supply chain is what are the top 10 major vendors of the company, from where the company imports their raw material, what are the major suppliers of the company, contracts already entered by the company with respect to the past, all that stuff. Okay. Then I may go for R&D that is already done in past. And on the basis of that, if there is any intangible registered. For example, company has patents in their name, trademark, or whatsoever. R&D cost lying in the books of account. What is the R&D which was done in previous year? Is it relevant still? So all that stuff. And this is everything about the company. Now I need to check background of the promoters also. So over here, these promoters, I need to check the background also for them, like any cases or litigation they have, convictions, or you can say and a punishment kind of thing they were awarded by any of the regulatory authority. Then whether any fraud in the past that has been done by them. Same goes for the company also. I need to check for the frauds done on company by employees in past, if there is any. Okay, so all these things I would go and verify in order to understand the history of the target company and background of its promoters. Yes, promoters, integrity, objectivity, all those things I will be verifying. So this is how I need to check the brief history of the target company and background of its promoters. Any doubt? Now, along with this, I would also show you how to write for this. For example, let's say we are writing answer for this one. So what you will do? You will write, okay, for example, first company's history and promoters background. So you will trace the company's evaluation. You will investigate in the background and reputation of the promoters. Okay. Then nature of the business operation. Then you will write, okay, primary business activities, project development, company's market share, target customer segments, competitive positioning that we have discussed. You will identify the locations and capacity of production facilities, review of company's employment structure. Then you will talk about product, service, and market. That you will analyze the company's product portfolio, assess the quality, company's product compared to the industry benchmark, identify key customer company's market. Then supply chain. You will write that, okay, you will identify major raw material suppliers, their reliability, pricing terms, potential supply chain risk, company's relationship with key customers, asset liabilities, company's inventory levels in the past, intangible assets, okay, R&D, major company's expense category, admin cost, efficiency and effectiveness of the company's cost management, investment in research and development, regulatory part. So all those things you will write in this way, like, okay, we will mention one by one, area by area, things in detail in exam. So this is how you need to write the answer for this question. Clear with this? So whatever we have discussed, I just, those are the things which are mentioned in the answer, but in just a bit more detail. Yes or no? Any doubt? Okay. If no further doubt, let's proceed to one more question. Okay. Uh, Very good question that we will be seeing. Okay. So let's go through this question. It's very good question. A whistleblower has raised the allegation of the financial irregularities and potential fraud within the accounts payable department of a Pharmawell Industries, a major pharmaceutical company listed on Bombay Stock Exchange. The company's board of directors has tasked a team of chartered accountants with conducting thorough investigation into the allegations and reporting their findings. Considering the sensitive nature of the investigation and potential legal ramifications, outline a step-by-step approach that the CA team should follow to conduct a comprehensive and objective investigation into the alleged financial irregularities at the Pharmawell Industries. Each step should be elaborated and detailed, should be given on the specific actions, considerations, and challenges the team may encounter. But as of now, focus on this part. That is, outline a step-by-step approach that the CA team should follow to conduct a comprehensive and objective investigation. So, how will you conduct an investigation over here? Now we are coming to the investigation. You need to give step-by-step approach. Come on, guys. Read the question for a minute, then try to answer. Yes, guys. So now tell me, how would you proceed with the investigation in this scenario? What are the steps that you will take, or for this particular comprehensive and objective investigation? So you need to give me step-by-step details of this investigation. Come on, guys. Very good. Yes, Manish. Very good. Okay.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर।
Yes.
सर, यहाँ पर जो लीगल रेमिफिकेशन जो लिखा हुआ है, रेमिफिकेशन का मीनिंग एक बार आप बताएंगे प्लीज?
Legal ramifications means the repercussions, or you can say
कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस।
consequences. Yes,
ओके सर।
legal consequences of that. Yes, Manish, very good. Okay, very good, Manish. So when we have to do investigation, the step-by-step approach would be: first, I would determine the objective and the scope of the investigation. Okay, so for me, the first step would be I would determine the objective and the scope of the investigation. Okay, then the next thing will be that I will be doing is the formulation of the investigation program. So I will draft and formulate an investigation program. Third, basically, would be examination and study of various records. So I will examine and study various records. Fourth is kind of analysis that you would perform. Like, okay, whatever records you have gathered, you would perform an analysis of that. And the fifth will be the preparation of the report. So reporting part. Okay, this is how step-by-step approach you would follow to conduct a comprehensive investigation. Now let's see the answer also, because these are the just steps, but we need to explain in each of the step also that what we should do. So, for example, when it comes to determination of objective and scope, what we would do basically, we'll verify and validity, verify and check the whistleblowers allegation, identify individuals involved, quantification of the financial impact, assessing the effectiveness of the company's internal controls, whether it is possible that whatever allegations are there, recommending corrective actions to prevent future occurrence, then time period to investigate, specific accounts, payable transactions that are required to be examined, documents record to be reviewed. We will decide on that. Okay. Second, then we have a detailed investigation plan. So now the second step is we need to formulate the investigation program. So detailed investigation plan outlining the specific task, timeline for completion, key areas of the investigation, available evidence, individual team members, if any expertise required, selection of confidential communication system or channel, that is very important. Examination of records, relevant financial record, payment voucher, bank statement, accounting ledgers, documents, supporting evidence, emails, contracts. You need to then conduct interviews with the relevant employees to understand these documents. You will analyze the collected data. Cross-referencing will be done with respect to the data that will be there. Quantification and quantifying the amount of fraud, if any, you have identified. Quantifying the financial impact, assessing the root cause, why that happened actually on the ground. And then you will prepare a detailed report summarizing whatever you have found it till now. Okay. And this is how you will do a step-by-step, this approach you will follow for the investigation. Any doubts with respect to this one? Any doubts? Yes, no? No? Okay, no doubt, no issues. Let's proceed further. There is one more good question that I want to cover. It will again, enhance our understanding about the topic. Okay. Now, very good question. A whistleblower complaint has triggered an investigation into the allegation of bribery and corruption within the procurement department of InfraBuild Corporation, a major infrastructure development company in India. A team of CA has been engaged to conduct a thorough investigation and prepare a report detailing their findings and recommendations. Upon completion of the investigation, one team member submits a draft report that includes the following part. During our investigation, we discovered an email exchange between Mr. A, the head of procurement at InfraBuild, and Mr. B, a supplier, discussing a special arrangement for a recent contract award. Although the email did not explicitly mention a bribe, the tone and the context strongly suggest that an illicit payment was made to secure the contract. Evaluate this excerpt from the draft report and comment on the important issues to be kept in mind by the investigator while preparing his report, including identifying the aspects of the language presentation that may not align with the requirement for a comprehensive and objective investigation report. So what you need to do here is you need to identify, or you need to tell about, okay, how and what are the issues with this draft report, or the or this particular part which is given over here from the draft report, and what are the things the investigator should keep in mind when he's preparing his report. What are the aspects that he should keep in mind? Okay, so for that, what I'll suggest is read the question again. I'll just zoom it out so that you can see. Yeah, read the question again, take a minute, and then try to answer. Read it, I would suggest. Take a minute, read the question, and then try to answer. Yes, tell me. Now, what are the things that the investigator should focus upon when he's drafting the report? What are the things he should keep in mind? We have seen already. Come on, guys. Anyone? Anyone, guys? This is about the report writing. What are the things that the investigator or inspector should focus upon when he's writing the report? Investigation report. No? Authority to the Mr. A. Authority means, can you just explain, Manish, like which authority you are referring to? See, whether it's a investigation report, or even forensic accounting report that we will see. Okay, there are few things that we need to make sure when we are writing these kind of reports, that how these reports are to be drafted, what are some things that are required to be taken care when we are drafting these kind of reports, basically. Okay, yes, Ginny, very good. So we need to make sure that whenever these kind of reports are made, we need to specify the specific things in the report. We have to be clear in our language. Okay, we cannot keep our language vague, we cannot keep our language ambiguous in these scenarios. It should be crystal clear that what you want to say when it comes to the reporting part. So there are things that we should take care when we are writing the report. For example, words, expressions that are used in the report, they should be properly defined. Now, for example, let's understand with the help of the question over here. If you see in this particular question, okay, now here they are talking about an email exchange. If you see what they are talking about, email exchange. This is written in the report, correct? This talks about an email exchange. But do you have the date of the email exchange? So again, I would call this part as in limited information. This is not, clear information that when this email happened, okay, from which ID to which ID, time, anything like that. Those things are missing. Then, if you see again, special arrangement, this particular term, special arrangement. Now, again, what is special arrangement? It's not there. It's not specified. If you read the whole point, they were discussing a special arrangement. But what special arrangement? Because now you have done investigation, you should be able to answer the what is special arrangement, and you should specify that special arrangement in your report. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then, if you see, it is written that although the email did not explicitly mention a bribe, the tone and the context strongly suggest that an illicit payment was made to secure the contract. Now, this particular term, strongly suggest, here this is a probable term, means there is no definite proof of that particular activity. You are saying there is a chance, there is a probability that it might have happened. Okay, so this shows clear lack of event / transaction. And at the end of the investigation, you don't write it may have happened. You don't keep open for the probability. I'm not doing test check. That's why I may say that okay, I feel there are no fraud or there is no fraud. So I cannot keep open for the what you can say here, like for probability. I have to be sure either yes, no. It cannot be a gray area. Then to secure the contract, which contract? What is the contract? Which contract we are talking about? Number of contracts? What was the amount involved? Quantity involved. So recent contract award, like what contract we are talking about? What is the amount involved in this whole transaction? What is the quantity involved? Exposure to the company. All those things are missing. I cannot write a report like this way. Ambiguous language, like special arrangement, strongly suggest lack of precision. For example, recent award, contract, special arrangement doesn't give me the amount, exposure. Misinterpretation could be there. For example, illicit payment. What was the amount of illicit payment? So somewhere you are writing illicit payment, somewhere you are writing a bribe. You have to be consistent when you are writing your report, specifically investigation report. Yes or no? I will show you the same paragraph, how it should be reworded, how it should be worded, suggestive worded. Okay. So let's read the suggested paragraph, how it should be worded. During our investigation, we discovered an email exchange dated this date between Mr. A. Now, this is very important part. This has been added. Dated this date. To demonstrate this was the date when the email exchange happened. Between Mr. A and the head of procurement and infra bill, and Mr. B, a supplier for the contract number this. Again, contract number has been entered to specify which contract. The email discussed the payment of amount this to Mr. A in connection with the contract award. Now, this is the important part. We are talking in definite terms, payment of amount. What amount basically? So the bracket things is the actual thing you will enter, like the amount. While the email did not explicitly state that the purpose of the payment, further investigation revealed that supporting evidence 1, 2, and 3 indicate that the payment was likely a bribe intended to secure the contract from Mr. B's company. So we are entering a reference of the evidence that we have verified. For example, there might be contract, there might be email exchange further, there might be bank statement, bank transactions, or some other details. Here, whatever you are writing on the basis of the evidence. There is no like, vague terms, special arrangement, no. Contract, special award, no. We are talking about in definitive terms over here. Okay. We are not saying illicit payment, but we are saying that, okay, indicate that the payment was likely a bribe intended to secure the contract. So we are saying, yes, it is bribe based on this supporting evidence. So we are saying, yes, we are not using strongly suggest word. No, we are not leaving it to a probability. You can revise it more, you can add more details, but this is how, the clear cut wording, precise language should be used. Yes or no? Clear with this, guys? Any doubt? Any doubt? Yes, the answer is kind of, reframing for you guys. In the answer, I have reframed the particular paragraph so that you can understand what are the things which were missing in the report part. Okay, let's take one more question on the similar lines so that you can understand more. A whistleblower complaint has triggered an investigation into the allegations of financial impropriety within the executive compensation program at the Global Corp, a multinational corporation. A team of chartered accountants has been engaged to conduct a thorough investigation and prepare a report detailing their findings and recommendations. Upon reviewing draft of the report, a senior partner noticed the following essay. Our investigation revealed that the CEO, Ms. X, received an unusual large bonus in the last fiscal year, despite the company's lackluster financial performance. This raises serious concern about the integrity of the compensation committee and its decision-making process. Evaluate this excerpt from the draft report and identify any areas where the language or presentation could be improved. Now you tell me, what are the issues with respect to this draft part? Similar lines, what we discussed just now. Come on, guys. Take a minute, read again, and then try to answer. Yes, now tell me. What are the things do you feel that it's a problem in this particular part of the report? Anyone? What problem do you see in this part of the report? Simple. What language problems do you see? Very good, Manish. Yes. What else? Anyone? Okay, very good, Ginny. Again, you need to focus on what is not clear in the report or this part. Simple. For example, yes, Manish, very good. For example, unusual large bonus. What is the bonus we are talking about? No quantification. Last fiscal year. How anyone can come to know? Let's say I'm reading this report after 4 years or 3 years. What was the last fiscal year? Fiscal year or financial year? Accounting year? Which year they are talking about? They have to be specific. The period they have to be specific. Whether the bonus was related to the last financial year or fiscal year, or they have to be specific in the terms they are using. Despite the company's lackluster financial performance, how they can say lackluster? Like what was missing, what was expected, what was not expected, how the company's financial performance is. Quantifications are required. Raises serious concern about the integrity. Are you sure? Like, see, again, raises serious concern means when you are doing an investigation report, when you are preparing an investigation report, you have to give your conclusion, definite conclusion, not about the raises serious concerns. You're not here to raise serious concern. You are here to identify, investigate, and then report. So all these terms, they do not provide clear picture. Ambiguous language, premature conclusions, lack of information, a lot of things are there, issues. And if I show you the correct one or suggested one, basically, see, our investigation found that the CEO, Ms. X, received a bonus of this much amount in the last fiscal year, representing a percentage increase to the compared to the previous year. So here they have done a comparison with the bonus of amount, percentage increase in compared to the previous year, and they are prescribing that. During the year, during the same period, the company's net income declined by this percentage, primarily due to further these reasons. Means they are talking about the decrease in the company's percentage or performance and reasons also. Then what is written is further analysis is required to determine whether the CEO's bonus was consistent with the company's compensation policies, peer group benchmarks, and overall financial performance. So what is the outcome here is what they are saying is, okay, we need to do further analysis. There is no premature conclusion, like this raises serious concern. Okay, so they are saying that no, we need further analysis of this particular matter. So this is how the report should be there. So this can be part of your preliminary report that you submit, based on which a detailed investigation might happen later on. Yes or no? Clear with this? Okay. Any doubt with respect to chapter number 17? We had a very good revision of chapter number 17. We did for the investigation and start with the question with the due diligence. Any doubt till now you guys have? Any doubt? No? No doubts about chapter number 17? Okay. If no doubt, can we start chapter number 18 then? Yes? Okay, let's move to the chapter number 18. Chapter number 18, Sustainable Development Goals, Environmental, Social and Governance Assurance. Yes, Manish, you have a question on forensic audit? Yes, please. Okay. No issues. If you have any questions at any point in time, you can ask in the chat.
Sir, I have a query.
Yes, yes.
Sir, why it is called as the forensic audit? Because somewhere I see that forensic accounting word is there and somewhere forensic audit word is there. So which one is correct?
Accounting.
Only accounting. Why, sir?
See, both terms have their meaning. Forensic accounting is a larger in scope. Okay. For example, when I talk about forensic accounting, it means that you are using the forensic techniques to gather the accounting evidence or in the field of accounting. Okay. So it's a larger in scope. But when I talk about forensic audit, it is similar to the fraud investigation. So you are using the forensic technique while in the field of audit to gather the evidence for the investigation. So it is somewhere related to the investigation like only. So if I talk about forensic auditing, it is near to the investigation. But when I talk about forensic accounting, it is much more in detail than the investigation.
Okay, clear, sir. Thank you.
Any further doubt, guys? Any doubt? Okay. If no further doubts, let's proceed to the chapter number 18. Before I proceed to the detailed discussion on the chapter 18, can anyone tell me what are sustainable development goals? Sustainable development goals. What is SGD?
So to conserve our natural resources, our Mother Earth, our duty towards Mother Earth, and how can we utilize our resources optimally?
Okay. So how many sustainable goals are there and from where it is coming?
17 goals are there.
Okay. Very good. Yes. Okay. And just for your information, these goals are the sustainable development goals, which are, prescribed by the United Nations. Over there, basically, what is the scenario and why we are learning this particular part? ESG, sustainable development goals. There is a reason attached to it, and I'll tell you. Okay. Now, basically, when I talk about sustainable development goal, okay, when I talk about ESG assurance, nowadays companies are more onto ESG reporting. Day by day, governments are more focusing on compliance with the sustainable development goals. There are regulations that you should comply with the SGD goals. SGD basically, you should report on the SGD. Okay, that's the ESG reporting. Now, whenever there's a reporting in picture, the question comes is whether that reporting is correct or not. And that's why the term ESG assurance comes into the picture. Are you getting the point? So, sustainable development goals, understanding of this is required because there's a reporting attached behind it. So, there is a reporting attached behind this sustainable development goal. And that reporting is required to be, kind of reviewed, a kind of, you can say, that there is a requirement of like, okay, what assurance is there on these particular reports? For example, tomorrow company can report anything. Like, no. We are complying with all the goals. There is no carbon emission, XYZ and all that stuff. Is that correct? Is that particular part appropriate? That is a very big question comes when the sustainable development goal reporting, ESG reporting comes into the picture. And that's why it's very important to understand that assurance is required behind it. So you will hear the term in coming days about ESG audit. Okay. Like ESG audit are done, ESG reporting reviews are being performed. So a lot of things will be done on the ESG. You will also look into, for example, social stock exchange. There will be social auditing standards. Okay, we will see on that. Social auditing standards and everything. So basically, all these things are kind of, emerging areas, because day by day regulations are being built up in this particular area. Reporting requirements are being built up in this area. Okay, now I will show you something, some reports, basically, which is on this particular line. The corporates are doing this kind of reporting. Okay, sustainability reporting, environmental reporting, and these reports are then basically like will be more onto the legal side, like these reports will be now mandatory for a lot of companies in the coming days. Okay, so I'll just show you. Just a minute. Again, these are the reports which are publicly like kind of publicly available data. It's not something just that it's confidential or something like that. You can download that report perfectly fine. So it's publicly available data. Okay. Now, what I'll show you here is basically a sustainable reporting part of a corporate, okay, of a company. Now, this is something international report. It's a company not in India, not listed in India, outside India, but it will give you an understanding of how these kind of reporting happen, how these kind of reports are being issued. Sustainability reporting. Okay. Very good report, I would say. Okay. So this is one of the sustainability, this is one of the company, and this is the sustainability report that they have issued. Basically, if you see, I'll show you something. Okay. So in sustainability reporting, what they do, they basically report on some parameters. For example, if you see, so they're talking about reductions in emission. Okay. So what is the target? What is the result? Reduction in some energy consumptions. This is the social impact that they are talking about. Okay. Then a lot of things are there in the report. I'll just show you some of the report. Then they're talking about, like, okay, how they do the materiality assessment with respect to the ESG part. Okay, materiality assessment on that. Then ESG committees, there are committees to that. And then they are reporting topic wise, basically. Like, okay, what was the report on this particular part? Sustainable product solution. So what was the target? What was the outcome? Basically, they will speak on that. So a detailed reporting is being done on this. A detailed reporting. There are numbers, there are figures involved. And this is one of the global report, not an Indian, but a global report to show you that, okay, how it works. So this is a sustainability reporting part. Greenhouse emission, a lot of things are there in these reports. If you get time, if you have a chance, then I would recommend you to go to these kind of reports and understand how these sustainability reportings are done. Now again, if these are the numbers which are reported, tomorrow there will be mandatory requirement for to issue these kind of reports as a part of your annual report. For example, again, one of the Indian annual report which is there. Okay, here if you see about the report over here, so what they are talking about, they're talking about integrated reporting framework. They are talking about BRSR reporting. They are talking about GRI standards. They are talking about sustainable development goal in the reporting. So these are the frameworks that they have used while building up this report. For example, this is Indian annual report, correct? That we have discussed earlier also with respect to the audit part. So if I show you, see over here. Now, whatever they are doing, they are marking some numbers over here. If you see, I'll zoom it for you guys. This one, number 8, number 9, 9, 12, 13. These are being mapped. The reportings are being mapped over here. Now, what is this mapping? This is the SGD, Sustainable Development Goals. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Over there, each of the benchmark is being mapped with the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, and then you have a sustainable reporting part also as a part of BRSR reporting. In India, we do a BRSR reporting as per the SEBI requirement. So, for example, I'll show you the BRSR reporting. Now, these kind of reportings basically, are kind of alignment with respect to few things. We will see few terms basically in this reporting part. Okay, we will see integrated reporting framework. We will see GRI standards. Something more you might see about IFRS S1, S2, or some other standards. But again, as of now, just look into these reports, what we are discussing, and I will go on to the detailed terms in a while. Okay, don't worry on that. We will go on to the detailed terms, but just this is kind of, just looking into the report. Okay. See, from here you can say stakeholder engagements and R&D innovation. Okay. So again, materiality assessment. What was the materiality assessment for the ESG part? They are talking about the ESG topics with respect to the materiality assessment. Okay. Then now this is very important. What they have done is materiality metrics. They have mapped important areas. What are the important areas? In 3 segments, basically. That is environment, social, and governance. And then these 3 areas are being mapped to SGD, which is being targeted by which sustainable development goal. And then they are talking about, each and every risk that they have identified over here, area they have identified over there. For example, if you see adoption of clean technology, so you will see down the line, we will talk about adoption of clean technology or all that stuff. But beyond that, they are also doing this particular important reporting part, that is integrated reporting. Now, if you see, these are the capital impacted: human capital, natural capital, financial capital, manufactured capital, intellectual capital, social and relationship capital. So they will also talk about these capitals being impacted by each and every risk. As of now, I know it will be a lot of things that you need understanding of. Don't worry on that. I'll explain each and every term, but just focus on what I'm showing you as of now. Now, this is sustainability reporting, SGD. They are talking about over here. Community governance. Okay, this is some of the sustainability reporting which is there. And I will show you, this is GHG emissions which are there, GRI, based on the GRI standards. Okay. Now, what I will show you is BRSR reporting. Now, what is BRSR reporting? Again, it's a business responsibility reporting kind of thing, sustainability statement reporting. Now, what this reporting does is that it allows, or it asks the corporates to report on some of the key concepts of the ESG. Just a minute. So basically, this kind of report, provides that, okay, how and what are the key aspects of this, key aspects that the business has with respect to the ESG part. Okay, so here it is: business responsibility and sustainability report. Okay, this is the report. Now, this is based on the SEBI requirements. This is a report. Now, again, when this report is there, there is an assurance provider attached to it. Means this report has been audited. Okay, this report has been audited. So, BRSR reasonable assurance has been provided on the core indicators. Additionally, a limited assurance has been provided on the selected indicators. So there are two things we are talking about. One is a reasonable assurance, one is a limited assurance. Limited assurance is on the select indicators. Reasonable assurance is on the core indicators. As of now, understand, in order to provide a reasonable assurance, what you will do is, let's say I ask you, provide a reasonable assurance on this particular part. What you will do to provide the reasonable assurance? Anyone? What you will do to provide a reasonable assurance? No? No one? If tomorrow I ask you that if you have to provide reasonable assurance on this particular report, what you will do to issue a reasonable assurance opinion? Okay. So basically, in order to issue a reasonable assurance opinion, I would perform an audit on that. Yes, I would perform a review on that to give a reasonable limited assurance. I will perform a review. To give a reasonable assurance, I will perform an audit. Okay. So either I need to perform an audit or either I need to perform the review. But to perform the audit and to perform the review, I should understand that what is the underlying subject matter and the criteria. Remember that subject matter you need to evaluate against the criteria in order to enhance the degree of confidence. That is the audit, correct? So the subject matter over here is your report, but the underlying criteria is the reporting requirement as per the SEBI LODR. So this is as per SEBI LODR. Whatever SEBI LODR says that you need to report, how as you need to report, that is the part. Okay. Now see, what is the reporting required over here? So here they are reporting about the products, services. They are reporting about the operations. They are reporting about the market served till the particular area, perfectly fine. Not that much complicated. Employees, employee demographic, male, female, permanent, other than permanent, still fine. I can verify from the data. Now, differently abled employees, again in the ratio, participation of representation of women in the board of directors, turnover rate of permanent employees, it's increasing the level. Okay. CSR details, again, you can easily get it, fine. Now, see, transparency and disclosure compliance. Complaints, grievances on any of the principle 1 to 9 under national guidelines on the responsible business conduct. So there are principles we will see on that. If you have received any complaint, then what number of complaints received on the each of the principles that you need to report. For example, shareholder, you have received these many complaints or something like that. Okay, number of complaint files, number of complaint pending, number of complaints filed in 23, this is 24. Employee workers. So a lot of things are there. Then overview of entities' material responsible business conduct issues, carbon emission, all that stuff. Now there is a lot of information given over here. Okay. So these, when I say assurance on this, means someone has to go down and perform the detailed audit of this. And you can only do as a chartered accountant if you are aware that what is required to be reported. This P1, P2, P3 reporting. Okay. So you can only say that, okay, this is appropriate when you will be able to understand what is this reporting basically. what is written over here, from where these things are coming, all this particular stuff. What are these 9 principles that we are talking about? Okay, again, this see, principle wise performance disclosure. So you have principle wise performance disclosure over here, and these performance disclosures are in detail. For example, see this one. Company was ordered to pay penalty within 60 days or something like that. Or for example, concentration of sales to dealer versus total sale. So these are the figures also given. Openness of the business, like how much business is open to all the people. Leadership part, a lot of things are there. It's a very big reporting, not a very, just 1 pager or 2 pager report. It's a very detailed report. Now see, plastic including packaging, recycled, this much. Okay. Then you have, again, details of measures of well-being of employees. Then a lot of things are there in this. Memberships. So it covers all the environmental, social, and governance part when it comes to this kind of this particular BRSR reporting. And when it comes to the assurance, someone has to verify whether this reporting which is being prepared with, whether this particular part is correct or not. The numbers, the underlying data, whether the reporting is appropriate, whether the reporting is required as per, done as per the required norms or the guidelines, all that stuff is required to be reported over here. And this is just, one part of the ESG reporting that I'm talking about. See this. Now, this is on the total energy consumption, electricity consumption, then you have fuel consumption, energy intensity per rupee turnover. A lot of things are there. Energy intensity in terms of physical output. These are not just, simple numbers, but they are the complex calculations also. For example, disclosure related to water, surface water used, withdrawal of water withdrawal. Okay, sea water, other third party water. These are in kiloliters. Now, someone has to go and, verify this. For example, indicate if any independent assessment, evaluation, assurance has been carried out by an external agency. If yes, then the name. So, reasonable assurance was provided. Again, a lot of things are there in this. Then this is about the waste, radioactive, biomedical, a lot of things. So this is very, very complex report that is there. And assurance is required. To provide the assurance, you need to understand what is the ESG reporting. This is just a start of the ESG reporting that I discussed. Just to make you understand why we are reading this particular chapter. What is the need to read? What is the need to understand these concepts and terms? In this particular chapter, we will go to the SGD goals. We will see what are the SGD goals, just a glimpse of that. Then we will go on the integrated reporting framework. We will check for some of the, climate disclosure standards. We will also see BRSR reporting. We will see ESG standards if there are any. International ESG reporting standards I'm talking about. Okay. Then we will talk about ICAI initiatives. Then again, when I talk about assurance, then ESG assurance standards, if any, there is one standard that we need to discuss. Then there is one more thing that we need to discuss is social audit, a new concept, and in that we will be discussing social audit standards. Okay, we'll go through, we'll do a glimpse of social audit standards. So this is how we will proceed with this particular part. Clear? Any doubt till now? Again, this is just start. Any doubt? No? Okay. If no further doubts, what I suggest is let's take a quick 10-minute break. Okay. After the break, we'll gather back and we'll start the detailed discussion on this particular chapter. Okay. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. Thank you. Hello everyone. Let's continue. So let's do a deep dive into these topics and let's understand what is there. Okay. Now, first we will understand about ESG. Okay, and evaluation of the ESG, how ESG evaluated, what is there, and global trends, and then all that stuff we will see. Now, when I talk about evaluation of the ESG, basically, okay, ESG stands for your environment, social, and governance. Okay, and when I talk about ESG reporting, it is reporting related to the environment, social, and governance. Okay, when I talk about environment, there's a climate related disclosures. There is carbon emissions related disclosures. So all those disclosures, all your kind of society related disclosures. How many new jobs given, like all those things with respect to the society part, employee part. That is your environment related disclosure or social related disclosure, and the governance is a good governance, corporate governance related thing. So these are the three major pillars in the ESG. Okay, this is 2030 agenda, which was which was proposed and then was adopted by each of the country. Okay, the now this particularly sustainable development goals were first presented by United Nations, then adopted by all the nations which are there in the United Nations, and then it was made in Agenda 2030. Okay, now these were the 17 goals. So whatever actions you will be seeing, whatever reportings you will be seeing, somewhere down the line they will be reporting, or they will be connecting the reports to these 17 sustainable goals, 17 SDGs. For example, zero poverty, zero hunger. These are the targets. When I say goals, means target. That these targets they want to achieve by 2030. So each and every company shows in their reporting that how they are progressing towards these targets. So whenever you will see a reporting, for example, I'll go back, I'll show you that part where the goals were there. Over there, what is the scenario is the company shows that how they are moving towards achievement of that target, how they are moving towards achievement of that particular goal. Okay, so for example, in this case, if they are focusing on the revenue generation, free cash flow, EBITDA margin, they are basically talking about decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure goal. So goal number 8 and goal number 9, if you see goal number 8, it talks about decent work and economic growth, and goal number 9 is industry innovation and infrastructure. So they are demonstrating that how they are moving towards achievement of this particular goal. Same way, EV units sold. Okay, now EV units sold, again, industry, sustainable cities and communities, goal number 11, responsible consumption and production, goal number 12, climate action, goal number 13. Okay, then patents registered, again related to the goal number 9, industry. Now workforce related. Okay, female workforce, voluntary employee turnover rate. Okay, all that stuff. So good health and well-being, gender equality, zero hunger because they are giving jobs. So all that stuff. So how they are working towards achievement of these goals. Okay, so each and every company in their ESG reporting, they will demonstrate that how their actions, whatever actions they are taking, these are the actions basically. If you see, these are the actions they are taking. So how these actions are being linked to these particular goals. Okay, next part here you will see is capital wise. Okay, What they will show you, what they will report is what are the different kind of capital involved, capital related reporting: financial capital, manufactured capital, intellectual capital. So they will measure each and every what do you say, reporting on these capitals, like which of the capital is being used, utilized, generated. Okay, so they will talk about 6 capital reporting. Okay, so this is how first step is to link the reporting to the SGD, to explain that how they are targeting to achieve this particular goal, how they are targeting to achieve this particular sustainable development goal. And for that, you need to have understanding of these 17 sustainable development goals. Then comes the part of the reporting part, as I told you. Now, I told you, like, there are capital based reporting, 6 capitals. There is a carbon emission reporting. So there are various reportings. Now, the question comes is, whenever there is a reporting, there is a guideline involved. Okay. There is a guideline involved. For example, like, who told them that, okay, this is how reporting is required to be done? Who told them that, okay, this is how, basically, this report is required to be prepared? So all that stuff, like, how reporting is done, how, what should be included where, there are some concepts, there are some ways, or, globally, there are some standards. So these are known as the sustainable reporting standards. Okay, sustainable reporting standards. So somewhere you will hear the term about the, IFRS S1. Okay, so IFRS S1 and S2, or somewhere you will hear about GRS standards. Okay, so either you will hear about IFRS S1, S2, or you may hear about GRS standards. Now, what are these standards? There are multiple GRS standards which have been issued till now. Now, what is GRI? We need to understand that. Okay. When I talk about GRI standards, it's a global reporting initiative. Global reporting initiative, there is a particular organization, Global Reporting Initiative. Under that particular GRI, okay, you can say that they have came up with a list of standards, basically. List of standards which are with respect to the reporting on the sustainability part. That how sustainability reporting is required to be done. Okay. And these standards are globally then, adopted by a lot of companies, a lot of corporates, where they are using these standards to report onto the sustainability elements. Now, when I talk about sustainability elements, that is nothing but your ESG part. Okay. So that is the part, ESG part, where, they are reporting onto. Now, once this particular, standards are followed, then on the basis of that, reporting is basically done. I'll show you the standards for your further understanding that how these standards are. But again, this is just for your understanding, nothing beyond that. Okay. So it's not more than that. It's just for your understanding. Just a minute. I'm opening up the standards. Meanwhile, it is getting, it opens up. So basically what happens is these set of standards are then followed for the reporting purpose. Now, you are not required to, basically go and learn all these standards as of now. Okay, but an understanding is just required, like what is GRS and, what they do, mining sector, biodiversity, economic performance, market presence. If I go any of the particular standard, let's say, for example, I'm going to this one. market presence, page 540. Okay. So basically how it is there, what reporting is required. So they will talk about, okay, this is something, this reporting is required to be done. Like topic 1, management disclosure, what management disclosures are required basically. Then this is, gender compared to local minimum wage requirement, reporting requirements. So these are certain reporting requirements. For example, this reporting organization shall report on how it manages market presence using this particular topic or this particular standard. Or if I talk about this one, when a significant portion of employees are compensated based on wages subject to a minimum wage rule, report the relevant ratio of the entry level wage by the gender at the significant location of the operation to the minimum wage. So they will give you like, okay, what reporting you are required to done with respect to this particular part. Okay. So they these standards provide, okay, how you are required to report on this particular part. What are the key things you should report when it comes to the GRI reporting if you are adopting the GRI reporting standards? Again, a lot of things are there in this. Like for example, percentage of senior management at significant locations of operations that are hired from the local community. Again, this is disclosure with respect to the portion of senior management hired from the local community. So a lot of reporting part is there on that. So category by category reporting requirements are there. Again, this is just for your information. Now, this is GRI, one of the reporting standards. It is not the only reporting standard that I told you. So GRI is the one of the reporting standard that the companies can adopt for the reporting purpose. The other let's say how you are required to report with respect to these basic things, how you are required to report on this, financial disclosures, sustainability related disclosures in financial information, a lot of things. IFRS S2 is a climate related disclosures. Again, environment related disclosures, that how you are required to report on the basically climate related and environment related disclosure. Okay, that is the IFRS S2. Then apart from that, you have this particular project, carbon disclosure project. Okay, again, it provides what reporting is required to be done if you are adopting this particular project, carbon reporting project. Otherwise, you have an international integrated reporting framework. We will see this one, international integrated reporting framework, because this IIRC, okay, was somehow is also somewhere linked to the integrated reporting framework. Like how integrated reporting framework. So these are certain standards basically, which talks about if you want to adopt basically reporting part, you can adopt these standards. Then now comes to this particular part, integrated reporting. Okay, what is integrated reporting framework, and basically why it is used and how it is different from others? See, when I talk about integrated reporting framework, again, it's just as part of a sustainability reporting. So whatever we are talking about as of now, it's just about sustainability reporting, nothing else. We are basically talking about sustainability reporting only. So when I talk about integrated reporting, so it talks about reporting on 6 capital bases. Remember, we saw 6 capitals that were there in the annual report. I'll just show you again. This one: financial capital, manufactured capital, intellectual capital, human capital, social capital, natural capital. So these 6 capital reporting is nothing but your integrated reporting framework. Okay, so here sustainability is that is is reported over here with the help of integrated framework. Okay. Now, if I talk about this particular reporting, integrated reporting, so they will talk about, for example, natural capital. So they will talk about utilization of the natural capital and how their activities are impacting the natural capital. Okay. For example, human capital. How organization is focusing on the human capital, basically. Like what they are doing. Now, which is, again, that was issued by the integrated reporting board. Like now it's part of the IFRS foundation. Okay. Basically, it talks about that on each of the area, what you are required to report. Okay. What are the fundamental principles? What are, the guiding principles? So basically, let's say quantitative, qualitative information you need to provide, past, present, future information you need to provide. So what kind of information you need to provide with respect to that? So that is something, they talk about, like, okay, how you are required to provide the information at the entity level, at the subsidiary level, holding level. A lot of things are there in this. Cost benefit analysis, sometimes how you are required to compare the cost benefit analysis, consistency, a lot of things are there. Content. So what you are required to report, basically with respect to external environment, market forces, a lot of things are there. Governance related reporting. Okay. Business model related reportings on the 6C. Again, all these reportings are required to be, bifurcated on those 6 capital. Then risk and opportunity, a lot of things are there in that. I'll not go into the detail, but a lot of things are there in this particular part of the reporting. Okay, relationships and all that stuff is there. Now, once this is reported, we have to bifurcate on 6 C's. 6 capital, basically. Financial capital, like how the organization is using this financial capital. Second is the manufactured capital. Manufactured capital is equipment, tools. Those are the capital which is, manufactured within the organization. So how this capital is being used, how this capital is being generated. Natural capital, natural resources, biodiversity. So impact and usage of that natural capital. Human capital. So how human capital is being used, what is the impact on human capital of the company's operation. Intellectual capital, social capital. So what is the impact of the company's operation on the social capital? For example, society, community, group level, stakeholders. And intellectual capital is basically on the intellectual property. So what is the company doing for the R&D, innovation, how it is changing the or contributing in the community and environment with respect to new innovation or on that. So basically this 6C reporting is then adopted with respect to integrated reporting. So if you see over here, here also, like, whatever the activities are there of the company, they are again divided into 6 C's. They are specifying, okay, what are the 6 C's that they are doing with respect to each of the area. That's their integrated reporting. Again, a lot of other reporting parts will be there with respect to integrated reporting. It is segregated in throughout the report. But that was 6C reporting, integrated reporting. Any doubt till now, whatever we have discussed with respect to the sustainability reporting part? Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? See, this is can understand, it's a new topic for you guys. It's altogether, something new that you might have not seen till now, but this is, this kind of reportings, these reportings are now going to, increase. They are basically something you can say, reporting for the future that will be there. Any doubt? Okay. If no doubts, let's then proceed further. Basically, what I want to show you is your again, reporting which are being done with respect to data, some data reporting, so that you can understand in actual how in detail reporting is done. See some of the data related reporting and the methodology used to report. If you see, now we are moving to the global reporting part, how global reporting is done. So if you see over here, they have specified like, okay, these are the protocol or standards they have used to do the reporting. So this is something, standards that are being used. Greenhouse gas protocol, okay. Then climate registry, okay, general reporting protocol, electric power sector protocol, emission factors. They have used these emission factors to compare. So a lot of, data is there. Plus a lot of standards are being, complied when it comes to the reporting part. So for example, if they have to report this part, I'll just zoom in for you guys. Consumption of fuel. Okay, consumption of fuel related reporting. Now biomass, ethanol, unit of measure, like, okay. So if they have to report this, so how it is required to be calculated, what measures are required to be calculated, what assumptions are required to be taken, a lot of things is involved. It is not easy to calculate. If I talk about electricity from non-renewable resources, if someone wants to calculate how much electricity has been used, then a lot of assumptions might require to be taken, because let's say a multinational corporate has multiple plants, offices, and a lot of things involved. In that case, taking out this number is very difficult task. So how and what are the parameters used to calculate this number, the assumptions, methodology, everything behind that. So a lot of things are required to be reported in the report itself, like what are the standards that have been used to calculate this particular reporting. So these standards are then used. For example, I'll show you. Again, CO2 emission. So this is emission in metric tons. Now CO2 emissions, CH4 emissions, all these emissions are there. Now it is not easy to calculate these emissions, like scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, direct emission, indirect emission, other indirect emissions. So there are not only direct but indirect emissions also that are calculated. Then other indirect emissions, total emission. So basically, to calculate this, you need some framework. To report this, you need some framework, and these are the frameworks that we saw, global frameworks which are used for reporting purpose. Globally, now gradually this is becoming standard. In US, there is a SEC. Okay. So SEC basically is now bringing up ESG reporting the way we have SEBI in India. In US, you have a SEC, that is Securities and Exchange Commission. So they are now bringing the annual reporting requirement for the public traded company with respect to the ESG part. Okay. In other nations also, a lot of development is happening. For example, in UK, there's a UK ESG disclosures. So there is also GSG, reporting requirement over there. When I say GSG, means greenhouse gas emission reporting. So these reportings are being, now adopted by each and every country. So there is one query. Here the auditor should also check if the company is related to manufacturing such products which produce more chemical than what the company has taken, like carbon credit certificate or not. If I talk about reporting on this particular line, yes, it covers a lot of things. Not only this, a lot of things. So, for example, how much raw material consumed and what is the output, the carbon emission from that raw material consumption, the carbon emission by selecting this vendor. Let's say you are not only taking the raw material. If you are selecting a particular vendor who is also doing a carbon emission, which is doing more carbon emission compared to others, means you are giving order to a vendor who is doing more carbon emission, and that carbon emission will go on to your account also. So that is the indirect scope that we just now saw. Carbon emission, CO2 emission with respect to indirect scope. That by selecting such vendors, by selecting such raw materials, you are promoting carbon emission that is going to on your account. So carbon tax is also there somewhere down the line, and in some countries where carbon tax carbon tax is imposed, calculation for that is there, and for that this reporting is becomes very important. So this is how global trend is happening with respect to carbon emission and the ESG reporting. In India, basically, now we will talk about ESG reporting in India. That whatever we have discussed from the global point of view. Whatever we have seen now, we have seen from the global point of view. Let's talk about now India. What is happening in the India with respect to the ESG part? In India, everything started in 2009. Okay. In 2009, basically, they came up with a corporate social responsibility voluntary guidelines. So CSR voluntary guidelines were introduced in 2009. They were voluntary guidelines. Okay, CSR related. Before Companies Act 2013, there was a voluntary guidelines in 2019. Now these were a kind of an initiative that was taken by the government. Okay, these are voluntary guidelines. If you want to adopt and do reporting on that. Later on, in 2011, okay, government issued further, MCA issued further guidelines on social, environmental, and economic responsibility of the business in 2011. So in 9, first set of guidelines came into the picture. In 11, another set of guidelines came into the picture. Okay. In 2018, also certain guidelines were amended, but after 11, in 2012, what SEBI did is SEBI mandated that okay, now companies are required to report business responsibility report, BRR. In 2012, BRR came into picture. Okay, for top 100 listed entities, basically. So in 2012, basically BRR came into the picture. Now government said, okay, now okay, do one thing. You top 100 listed companies report on the BRR. And later on, when SEBI LODR came in 2015, it became part of SEBI LODR. So in 2015, LODR was introduced, listing obligation and disclosure requirement regulations. So what SEBI did is earlier this particular BRR reporting was with respect to a circular. A circular was issued. Okay, now you need to do reporting as per the circular. Later on, when this LODR came into the picture, this circular was merged with this LODR. And it became part, that BRR became part of the LODR. And it was made applicable to top 500 listed companies. Okay. From 100 to top 500. In 2017, SEBI recommended to use integrated reporting. Remember integrated reporting we just discussed? Yes or no? Integrated reporting? Anyone? No? Integrated reporting? Just now we saw. What was integrated reporting? Quickly. Quickly, guys. What was integrated reporting? So when it comes to integrated reporting, it was 6C reporting, 6 capital reporting. Okay, 6 capital based reporting. And what SEBI did is SEBI said, okay, now top 500 listed company, you adopt on a voluntary basis. I'll not force it, but you adopt on a voluntary basis from the financial year 17-18. Okay, that prepare the BRR on basis of the IR. Prepare BRR to adopt IR means you have to report the thing which is there in the business responsibility report, but by adopting 6C approach. Okay, fine. Now what happened in subsequently in 2017? Okay, SEBI issued this particular IRR reporting, IR voluntary reporting in 2018. Okay, in 2018 there was one. Remember there was this particular guideline, national voluntary guidelines on social, economic, and responsibility of business. Okay, so these guidelines basically later in 2018 and 19 were made basically converted into one particular business conduct guidelines. Okay, so these guidelines were revised in 18 and 19 to become this particular guidelines, like national guidelines on responsible business conduct, NGRBC, national guidelines on responsible business conduct. Now, what are these guidelines? National guidelines on responsible business conduct. If you see, like we have already seen this particular part, reporting part. Okay. Now, when you see this particular national guidelines on responsible business conduct, basically it is nothing but 9 principles. Remember, we saw something in our report on the 9 principles. Like there should be 9 principle reporting with respect to the responsible business conduct. Yes or no? So when we saw, I'll just show you again. Just a minute. It is, I think, it is taking some time. So basically, that were the 9 principles or principles for the, you can say, responsible business conduct. Okay. So the reporting was required on basis of this responsible business conduct, basically. And these particular reporting, just okay. So this particular reporting was done on the basis of what you say, like, okay, what are the over here? Responsible business conduct. If you see this part. So this was integrated. Now you need to, use reporting part when you are reporting, you need to report based on the responsible business conduct, these 9 principles. I'll show you the guidelines also so that you can understand and what are these 9 principles also. So for your understanding, I'll just open. I'll just show you this guidelines. So this is a national guidelines on responsible business conduct. These are revised from time to time. Okay, changes are being made in this particular time to time. The latest one was issued in 2018. Okay, this was the 2018 guidelines which were issued. Okay, as I was talking about, and then a bit of small revision in 19, but major guidelines were revamped and issued in 2018. So it talks about basically 9 principles. I'll show you these 9 principles over there. So these are the core element, or basically you can say 9 principles. So those are, I'm not sure it is why it is showing broken. I think there is some issue with the file. It is not showing appropriately over here, not displaying appropriately. But these are basically the 9 core elements or 9 core principles which are there. So this is principle 1. I think this is some issue with the file and it is not getting open. Let me try do a refresh. I'll close it. Okay, but there is some still issue. But again, these are the core elements are the principle only that we are talking about the governance structure. One is a governance structure, okay, with respect to the core principles which are there, prevent contraventions or fair actions against any transitions, to implement to implement the guidelines. So there are some principles which are given. Okay, the governance structure should do this, the governance structure should do this, the governance structure should not do any illegal activity. So something like that. That is also there in the report over here. Okay, so it was then adopt this particular guidelines were there, and they were like, okay, basically now you have to report on these guidelines also. Basically, kind of a reporting which was done on these guidelines that was introduced in 2019. No, these principles basically are not there in your study material, but it's just I'm showing you for your understanding. Okay, so this guidelines came into the picture. Again, till now it was voluntary. In 2019, BRR was made compulsory for 1,000 listed entities, from 500 to 1,000 listed entities. And then in 2021, BRR was amended. BRR amended and it became BRSR. So in 2021, BRR became your BRSR. Now, when BRSR was introduced, at that point in time, these guidelines which were there in 2019, okay, so BRSR required reporting on the basis of this guideline. Like, okay, now what you do is you report, but you also show that, okay, how you are working or how you are adhering on these guidelines. Okay, so over there. So like this way, you can say that, basically these guidelines became part under the BRSR reporting. Clear? Any doubt till now? Any doubt? Okay. Now, when I talk about BRSR reporting, okay, BRSR reporting also was divided into certain sections, certain areas, basically, you can say. So, if I talk about BRSR reporting, if you see, there are sections given in the BRSR reporting, and there are principles given in the BRSR reporting. Again, you may say that like whether reporting is required on this principle. Answer is yes. So these principles are kind of principles again related to the what do you say, this particular reporting, this guidelines only, these voluntary guidelines which were there. Okay, so I'll just show you 9 principles of BRSR reporting. So these principles are the same principles which are there in your national voluntary guidelines. Okay, so now BRSR is required to report on these guidelines, on these particular principles. Principle number 1, ethics, transparency, and accountability. That means report on the ethics part, report on the transparency part, report on the accountability part. Okay. Then comes the principle 2, safe and sustainable goods and services. That entities are required to report on this, that they should make sure their goods, services, operations are safe, sustainable, and environmental friendly, that they are consuming the resource in an optimized way. I'll just show you these principles over here also in the actual reporting, and then we'll see. See this one. principle 2, just a minute. I'll show you the principle 2 reporting. Basically, what happens here? See, this principle 3 reporting. We'll go and see this principle 3. Now, principle 3 was promote well-being of all employees, including those in value chain. So, how in actual on ground it is reported is basically, see, this is they are providing details of the measures of the well-being of employees. So, they are giving some essential indicators on this particular part, which is there in the BRSR reporting. Like, okay, what is the well-being of employees over here? So health insurance, accident insurance, benefits, daycare facilities, how much you have provided. For example, then details of measures of well-being of workers. Again, then measures towards well-being of employees, cost incurred on the well-being measure as a total revenue, details of retirement benefits, accessibility of the workplace. Okay, then return to work and retention rates of permanent employees, mechanism available to receive and redress grievance. Then a lot of things are there. Means behind each and every principle, a reporting is required to be done in BRSR reporting that, okay, how you are achieving that principle. For example, if the principle is well-being of employees, then what you are doing to achieve the well-being of employees, you need to report parameters on that. And these parameters are defined in BRSR reporting. Okay. For example, training given to employees. So this is something, data on the training given with respect to health and safety measures, skill upgradation, both FY23-24. Details of performance and career development reviews on employees and workers. So by this way, principle by principle reporting is done in BRSR reporting. Again, you will see after this, there will be principle 4. Okay. So by this way, principle 4 basically respect to stakeholder interest and responsiveness. Like how you are working towards the stakeholder interest, like how you are basically, looking forward the stakeholder interest. Whether your business decisions, which are you are taking in the company, are towards the stakeholders, interest or not. Whether they are prejudicial to the interest of the company. So you need to report on that. Principle number 5, respect and promote human rights. So what you are doing to promote human rights. Protection and restoration of environment. So here, what steps the company is taking with respect to the environment protection. Carbon emission, use of resources, optimum utilization, prevention of pollution. A lot of things are there. Okay. For example, we'll go to principle 6. I'll just show you some of the examples of principle 6. It is taking time, but meanwhile, so these different reporting comes into the picture. Again, now there is one more steps a lot of corporates are now implementing. Basically, is now mapping these 9 principles to the SGD. I'll also show you that how these 9 principles are then mapped to the SGD, that is Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, so that is your principle 6. See, we have already seen electricity consumption, like it was with respect to the environment. So electricity consumption, what is the electricity consumption? Then disclosure related to water. Okay, then you have details with respect to water discharge. All these reportings are there. Air emission, for example, NOx, SOx, air emissions are there. Then you have greenhouse emission, scope 1, scope 2 emission. Okay, so a lot of things are there with respect to the greenhouse part, like what is the greenhouse emission, then total waste generated. A lot of details then you are given on that waste part. So this is something, principle by principle reporting done under BRSR. Any doubt till now? Any doubt with any of the part? Any doubt, guys? Okay. Now, if no doubt, then also, as I was talking about, now these BRSR principles then are then aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals, so that the company can report. Okay, if I am meeting and if I am reporting on the principle, then also I am doing something on a Sustainable Development Goal, because at the end both are working towards the ESG, environmental, social and governance. On one hand, SGD also focus on that element. On second hand, these principal reporting also focus on these elements. So somewhere down the line they might be connected, they might be similar. Okay, so that's why a mapping is available, that okay, if you are reporting on principle 2, let's say you are also reporting on SGD 2, SGD 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's why in front of each reporting we was also seeing SGD reporting requirements. So there is an alignment of BRSR principles with the SGD reporting requirements also. Clear with this? How BRSR reporting is done? What is BRSR reporting? What are the principles? Like principles, these were the principles basically from your national guidelines, which were then adopted in BRSR reporting. These were the principles of national guideline on reporting responsible business conduct. Then they were adopted in the BRSR reporting, and now BRSR reporting is done on this basis. Plus, you have sometimes different reporting, like integrated reporting, some climate related additional disclosures if something else is followed. Some other reporting standard is also followed, but this is mandatory. BRSR reporting is mandatory basically for the companies, for the listed entities. Yes or no? Clear this till this particular part? Any doubt? Any doubt till now, guys? Okay. Now we will talk about, see, now we understood, we have a great understanding of the reporting part. Now we have a great understanding of the reporting part, basically what reporting is done. Okay. Now we will understand how the assurance is delivered over here. That is the second part that we need to understand. Reporting done, very good. We are done with the reporting. Now comes the assurance aspect of this. And that is very much important that we need to understand. Here we will understand about the assurance on the corporate sustainability reporting part. See, as we have seen multiple things, multiple data, multiple types of information and everything. So in that case, whenever this kind of assurance engagement is there, if a practitioner comes across this kind of assurance engagement, then how he is required to look onto this assurance engagement, what he needs to do basically for this kind of assurance engagement. See, for this kind of assurance engagement, basically what happens is, here there are certain standards which are issued by the institute in this regard, but there are some other external standards also which are there on the preparing the sustainability reporting and assurance on that. Okay, I'll just give you a brief about these standards. For example, there is a ISAE 3000. Okay, ISAE 3000. Now, what is this ISAE 3000? ISAE 3000 is a global, is international standard on assurance engagement. This is the international standard on assurance engagement. Basically, this is applicable to the scenarios where there is an assurance engagement other than audits. Remember something? We have seen similar assurance engagement other than audit, standards on assurance engagement other than audit. Yes or no? We have seen something similar here also. Yes. So similarly, you have a global ISAE. We have a SAE. You have a global ISAE. Okay. In India, basically, what are the standards which are there for the assurance or to issue assurance on this particular part? Basically, if you see, ICAI has came up with certain standards. ICAI has issued few standards in this particular area. Okay, so that is one such standard which is being issued by the institute is is basically your again, this is SAE only which has been issued, but this is with respect to your what you can say, with respect to assurance engagement on the greenhouse emission. Okay, that is 3410. That talks about assurance engagement on greenhouse emission. Over there, guidance has been given that how assurance engagement on greenhouse emission or greenhouse statement related engagements are required to be carried out. So that is SAE 3410 basically. 3410, that is assurance engagement on greenhouse statements. It is something on the similar lines like like we have seen other assurance engagement standards, we have seen other SAEs. It is on the similar lines, but it is specifically designed for the greenhouse emissions part. Okay. Apart from that, there are others. There is one more standard also which has been issued by the institute. That is SSAE. Okay. Again, they are still into what you say, evaluation, and a lot of things are there to be decided on these standards. Okay. But there is a SSAE. Now there is a sustainability reporting standard board of ICAI. Sustainability reporting standard board basically, which has issued SSAE, that is a sustainability assurance engagement standard on sustainability assurance engagement. Okay, that is SSAE, that is 3000, which have been issued for assurance engagement on sustainability information. Again, this standard basically provides like, okay, it's on to the somewhere similar to the international standard. Okay, so it is in line with the assurance ISAE 3000 here, but this standard, this SSAE is based on the for the Indian reporting. Some portions of the BRSR reporting are also considered, like how to gather information, what should be the auditor's objectives, and effective date, like how to perform the engagement, what are the things are required to be considered with respect to these standards and everything. Okay, so that is the one part. Globally, there is one more standard. Globally, there is one more standard which is being followed, that is AA 1000. Now, AA 1000 is the accountability 1000 assurance standard, which is the global standard basically. Okay, which talks about again assurance on this kind of engagements. So there are multiple versions which are issued till that date. Now, I think there is a current version is a version 3 which is being there on the assurance engagement. So AA 1000 AS version 3, okay, which is being followed. So as I said, there are multiple standards globally also which are there on this particular part, and in Indian context also you have two standards, that is SAE 3410 plus you have a double SAE 3000, which is in line with the international standard 3000. So these are certain standards which are already issued in India with respect to sustainability reporting. Assurance on the sustainability reporting part. Apart from that, there are certain other things also with respect to reporting, standards. Now, when I talk about assurance reporting on this area, okay, so there are guidance material available. For example, institute has came up with the detailed guide on BRSR reporting, guidance note on the BRSR reporting, implementation guide on the BRSR reporting. So all those things are already there to basically facilitate assurance reporting, assurance engagement on these kind of engagements. The background material, all those stuffs are there. Then there are FAQs which are also issued by the institute on the BRSR reporting or sustainability reporting. Plus, there is a sustainability reporting maturity model, SRMM. Now, what is SRMM? Sustainability reporting maturity model. Basically, this is the model that was created to understand or to evaluate the sustainability reporting. Like, this model help us to understand, like, okay, at what level, at what percentage the sustainability reporting is being done as of now. So there is a percentage score given, okay, how much mature the sustainability reporting is there for that particular entity. I'll show you that model also. Now, current version of that model is version 2 that is being used. Okay. So under that model, you score the sustainability reporting. Sorry. You score the sustainability reporting, and on the basis of that, you decide, okay, based on this particular model, based on this particular part, this is the maturity of the sustainability. This is the maturity which is there. So there are multiple stages in that particular model. Okay, if your score comes to this particular part, is your score comes to this particular part. So this is the version 2 of the model issued by the institute. I'll show you this particular part. See, if your score, BRSR score comes up to the 25%, you can say your sustainability reporting or the sustainability reporting of the organization is at formative stage. If it is between 25 to 50, then emerging stage. 50 to 75, then established stage. And 75 means it's leading by example. So over here, you assess that how reporting is being done. So you give a score based on certain parameters, based on how disclosure is done. So you give a score, and on the basis of that score, okay, you decide in last, okay, what is the stage or what is the category under which the sustainability reporting or the BRSR reporting of this particular entity is falling into. Okay. And once the score is finalized, then you can decide whether it is in the formative stage, early stage, or whatever stage it is. So this is the sustainability reporting maturity model issued by the institute, where you can actually measure the maturity of the sustainability reporting. Okay. So these are certain, assurance related part or assurance related engagement standards which have been issued by the institute. So SAE 3410 that we have seen, background material like implementation guide or guidance note on the BRSR reporting. Again, you have a sustainability development goals reporting part. You have FAQs that I discussed. Now this, instead of version 1, there is a version 2 that we just now saw. This is a sustainability reporting model. Plus, as I told you, there is a international standard ISAE 3000. On the basis of that, you have a SSAE 3000 Indian standard. Okay. So on the sustainability reporting, which is there apart from this one. So I will request everyone everyone that please go through the BRSR reporting. If you get some time, then go through a particular live BRSR reporting which is there on the public domain, so that you can understand, at least glance through it, so that you can understand what this reporting is. Otherwise, just plain reading from here will give you good clarity, but till the time you're not seeing on a practical ground how the things are implemented, you may find difficult to understand further. Again, we discussed this sustainability assurance engagement standard 3000, that is already there. Okay. Now this is required to be adopted voluntarily. Then it will be mandatory adoption will be there later on. So this was with respect to the environment, social governance, sustainability reporting. See, this could be a new topic for you guys, but again, this is just an introduction that you guys, the chapter provides to you guys that, okay, what is ESG, what is ESG reporting, what is ESG assurance, all that stuff. So this is just an introduction, you can say, that it provides to you. Any doubt? Any doubt till now? No? Okay. If no further doubts, then I would proceed to the next topic. Okay. So there is a topic called social audit. Social audit, and we have a social audit standard. Now, what is social audit? Who are social auditors? And basically, a glimpse I will provide you on this particular part. How it is different than your normal audit. Okay. When it comes to the social audit, okay, so you might have heard this term. There is a social audit standards. There are social audit. Basically, what happens is, if there is a particular organization, or if there is a particular NGO, non-profit organization, Section 8 company providing services in a particular area, in a particular domain. In that case, to assess whether how their services are, or whether they are able to perform, or basically to understand their social aspect of their services, or basically to understand okay, how they are actually doing. This social auditing is required to be done. Social auditing basically goes and carries out the social impact assessment of this particular program or company or project. Basically, let's say, for example, project is or program is with respect to eradicating hunger, poverty, or providing food security, something like that. Now what social auditor will do is, social auditor will go and will perform social audit to calculate or to assess the social impact of that particular project. Basically, whether that poverty related program or eradicating hunger related program is doing an impact in the society, yes or no. So it will go and it will evaluate the social impact of that particular program on the society. Soon you will be there, there will be social stock exchange, like social projects these projects will be listed on the social stock exchange, and for that there will be social audit required. Okay, so basically for that particular, those particular projects which will be listed on the stock exchange, you know, requirements will come in the time. Okay, but here what happens is the social auditor will go and will assess the impact of the project. Okay, there are certain parameters which are given, like inclusiveness, relevance, effectiveness of the program, convergence of the program, degree of convergence of the program with other programs, sustainability. Okay, how much program is relevant, how much program is inclusive. There are certain parameters. On these parameters, these particular programs are evaluated. Okay, so a detailed social audit is done for these programs. Now the question comes is, when a social audit is done of these programs, so a definite, or you can say a standard approach is required, because it shouldn't be like, you know, everyone is doing audit of the social program in their own way. That's why social auditing standards or social audit standards came into picture. Now these social audit standards, there are, you know, there are a lot of there are these standards given basically from SAS 100 to 1600. What these standards do is, area by area, they provide that how you should carry out social audit. Okay, so basically these standards provide that, okay, if you want to carry out audit of this particular area, then how to carry out. I'll show you an example. I'll show you the social audit standard, okay, for your understanding, so that you can you know, get a good understanding of this particular, like how these standards help with respect to the report auditing. Okay, this is SAS 100, that is social audit standard 100. Okay, now for example, this is on the eradicating hunger poverty. Now if a social audit is required to be done for these programs like poverty, eradicating hunger or related, then how it should be done. So first this provide, okay, what should be the objective and scope of this particular audit. Okay, then what data should be collected for this particular audit, data collection, desk review, what review should be done. Okay, then what questions should be evaluated on this particular audit, what inspection should be done, and key metrics which should be evaluated. So these are certain key metrics or KPIs which are given that should be evaluated to understand the social impact of the program. Assessment, like of the challenges or limitation on the program, if there are any. And you know, some metrics are given over there, taxonomies and classification is given for that. So that is, you know, guidance given on this on the social audit of this particular program of eradicating hunger, poverty and malnutrition. This way you have you know, various standards for each and every area given, that how social audit is required to be done for these areas or these kind of programs: promoting healthcare, promoting education, gender equality, ensuring environment sustainability, protection of national heritage, supporting incubators, promoting livelihood, disaster management, promotion of financial inclusion, promoting welfare of migrants and everything. Okay, so each and every standard will provide you that how social audit of this kind of program will be done. Clear with this? Like what is social audit standard and what are social audits? Again, just an introduction for you guys to understand like what is social audit and what are the social audit standard. So there is one question, whether CSR and social programs are linked with each other. Yes, you can say that. Why not? CSR programs can be linked with these social programs. Basically, they can be same also. Like, you know, CSR program and social program will be same also. Any doubt? Any doubt till now? Again, see why this understanding is required. See, when I talk about BRSR reporting, when you are the statutory auditor of the company, still you are required to look into BRSR reporting. Can anyone tell me how? Let's say, for example, you are the statutory auditor of the company. Okay, you are auditing the financial statement. Then why you would be able to, or why you would be required to look into BRSR reporting? Can anyone tell me? Let's say you are the statutory auditor of a company. Okay, statutory auditor of listed entity. You will audit financial statement, but still you are required to review BRSR reports. Why?
Because of the information which is given into the BRSR report should be matched with the reported information in the financial statement.
Yes, and which standard requires that?
The SA 720.
Absolutely correct. So SA 720 talks about review of other information. Now this BRSR reporting is nothing but your other information that you are required to report, or you are required to look into when you are doing the audit of a financial statement. Number 2, SA 250, laws and regulations. If a company is required to report on the sustainability part as per the law, then while performing the audit, you need to make sure that the company, if it is with respect to the direct, there were two categories, direct and indirect. Now if that particular law or regulation has a direct impact on the financial reporting part, then you are required to check whether whether the company has complied or not. For the indirect one, you are just if you have to just make sure that if something comes up in while performing the audit. But again, SA 250 requires you to consider laws and regulations when it comes to the audit of a financial statement, and over there could be a requirement for a company to report on the sustainability part. Then you are required to review, or you are required to check whether the company has reported or not. So SA 250 is also there. There is one more requirement, that is NOCLAR. What is NOCLAR?
Non-compliance with laws and regulations.
So if you are engaged as an professional accountant, if you are employee of a company or senior employee of the company, then there is a requirement for the NOCLAR also. Yes or no? So in NOCLAR, if you come across with a non-compliance with laws and regulations, over there you are also required to take actions, some steps that we have already seen in chapter number 19. So these particular requirements are already there, for which you are required to review BRSR reporting, and you will be only able to understand that whether the company has complied with laws or regulations, or company has complied with this reporting, when you have a good understanding from where it is coming. So not only for the BRSR assurance or sustainability assurance, but for the normal audit also, understanding of this particular part is required. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes, clear, sir.
Great. So this was your chapter number 18 in detail that we discussed. Now, what I expect from you guys in the next session, I expect that please read the chapter. Okay, read the chapter in detail, come up with your doubts. In the next session, we will solve questions on chapter number 18, and I will bring up some more questions on the other topics as a revision part. So we will focus on more onto the practical side of solving questions on these topics. Okay, we will practice some questions in the next session so that we can have a good understanding of the topic and we can understand how to write answers for these topic in exam. Okay, but for that, please make sure that you go and read the chapter and you come up with any doubts if you have. Okay, so that while solving the questions you can understand whatever we are discussing. Sure, Jenny, definitely. Any other doubt, guys? Any other doubt?
सर आपको मैंने पहले ही बोला था एनबीएफसी के लिए, उसका जो लेक्चर नंबर 1 है वो ढंग से लोडेड नहीं है ऑन यूट्यूब.
I actually asked the team, is it still appearing the same?
यस सर.
Apologies for that. Let me again check with the team like what is happening on that.
ओके सर.
Any other doubt, guys? Any other doubt?
सर वन मोर थिंग सर, जो ऐसे 800 सीरीज है वो अपडेटेड मतलब अभी 2024 वाला जो मॉडिफाइड हुआ है वो एप्लीकेबल है हम लोगों को?
See, as of now, I think the old one is applicable till the time there's what you can say, the announcement is there for the new one. But I think it is applicable. The old one is the applicable one as of now.
ओके सर, थैंक यू. ओके सर.
Yeah. Any doubt, guys? Any other doubts? No? Okay. If no further doubts, then thank you, guys. Thank you for participating in today's session. Please read the chapter. Come up with your doubts in the next session. We will discuss questions on chapter number 18 and some other questions. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in the next session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
थैंक यू सर.